Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Eternal Life Plan. I so appreciate those of you that were with me last night live while I was talking about near-death experiences. And it's just so warms my heart to see some of you that have come back and keep watching no matter what the subject that we talk about. And tonight, here is the agenda. We're going to talk about President Trump's verdict that he was handed down yesterday, my thoughts on that. I have a pic of Michael Voris to show you. And this was dug up from the archives. And we're also going to give you an update on the de Laire versus Voris lawsuit. And then at the very end, I want to point your attention to a very important article that Kristine Christlieb wrote on her Trust But Verify story. So actually, I just see that I left the T off a but. It's not Trust Boo Verify story. I have Trust But Verify story. So right away, we already have a question. Karen, good to see you back. Thank you so much. I may have to avert my eyes on the Voris pic. Lots of laugh. No, this one, you don't have to use custody of eyes. He's fully clothed on this one, but we're going to show you what he's fully clothed in. So before I get into my opinion on Trump's verdict, I want to bring in my colleague, Kristine Christlieb, who has once again given a gracious amount of time to go through the de Laire lawsuit and to help us make some sense of what's going on in that. Kristine, thank you so much for being back.
Oh, it's always great to be with you, Kristine. I enjoy our conversations, and I hope I bring some insight to, your audience as well.
Oh, you do. I get it in the comments all the time. People asking me when you're going to come back. Well, I want also your opinion on the Donald Trump verdict, because as you and I both know, the verdict was handed down in the evening. And I know, Kristine, you and I talked offline about this, how disturbing this is. So Kristine Christlieb knows my views about Donald Trump and his change of his abortion policy. I don't know who advised him to do that, and I don't know why the bishops did not step up and help him with that decision.
Yeah.
And this isn't about the abortion, but I want to lead up to this because this is important. There's no one, Franklin Graham surrounds himself with Trump. Frank Pavone surrounds himself with Trump. Lots of Catholics surround themselves with Trump, but are they telling him what he needs to hear, or are they telling him what he wants to hear? We have witnessed this at Church Militant, Kristine, haven't we?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously it's a common phenomenon. Leaders have to constantly be looking for individuals who actually, have the character to tell them the truth, to really share what they're sensing from, the events going on. And so if you have people who just want a seat at the table, then you're not going to get that. I'm not sure about Franklin Graham. Of course, he's Protestant, but Frank Pavone, isn't even a priest in good standing. Am I correct?
He's not even a priest
anymore. Yeah, he's not a priest anymore. So, what a shame that former President Trump does not, maybe you don't have to say former. Can you just say President Trump? I'm actually not
Mhm.
sure.
Yeah.
But, it's such a shame that there's not a bishop, who's decided to, I'm going to reach out and try and if he wants to consult with me, I'm just going to make myself available. As
Yes.
far as I know, and now of course any bishop would keep that confidential, of course, so we would likely never know, but we just don't see any in his entourage. Are there any priests that we know of?
Yes, Father Altman.
Well,
Yeah. Yeah, he was down there at Mar-a-Lago at the, breakfast prayer. So, yeah, he's probably in the entourage, although I do feel that if asked upon, Father Altman would tell him, "No, you can't support abortion in any form," you
I
know?
believe he would too. I would, but
I'm Yeah, I'm
yeah,
pretty confident he
yeah,
would,
yeah.
and the theory that, we just have to get him in the White House and then he'll be more pro-life. We don't know that. There's no guarantees. But the point I want to make, everyone, is this is as just as much fault as the religious leaders as it is Donald Trump. You know, to Kristine, to your point, they may have advised him behind the scenes, but why aren't they more vocal about saving the unborn? When do we ever hear about saving the unborn? In January, during the March of Life. The other 11 months, it's crickets from the bishops. Absolutely crickets. So, someone said in the comments to me, and I really appreciate it. I'm sorry I did not pull that comment. And their point was the bishops could stop abortion if they wanted to, and they're absolutely right.
I agree with that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So let's transition into what happened yesterday with Donald J. Trump. Why did I lead with this abortion thing? Because Trump um, did not surround himself with people that he needed to surround himself with. With that being said, can I separate the abortion issue with what happened to him yesterday? Yes, I can. What happened to him yesterday was an absolute travesty, not only for him, but for our justice system. So we do not have a justice system. And I have quietly been talking about this for some time. I'm not ready to tell that story yet, but I've been quietly talking about this, about how our justice system is not what we think it is. And I'm going back
Mhm.
10, 11 years that I was talking about this quietly. We saw it in play yesterday. We have seen it with the January 6th people that were merely there and got thrown into jail. So, right before our eyes, we have witnessed our justice system, which I suspected all along was doing these things 11 years ago. Kristine, what are your thoughts about that?
Well, I guess a lot. Let me first say, back to January 6th. I know people who attended, who were at the January 6th rally, who have spent the last several years, kind of looking over their shoulder, waiting to get that call or knock on the door, just waiting, in fear. Okay, so you have American citizens who quietly and peacefully, in good faith, um, were attempting to protest something, and now they are in fear of being put in jail. I mean, that's very serious. Okay, so there's that. Then, you said you were talking about, uh, the justice system collapsing. So that's why I would say it's kind of beyond a travesty. it is the total, in the minds of the American people, a lot of the American people, it's the total collapse of the judicial system. And so today I was looking at it. There are a couple of people that I follow on Twitter. I follow Rob Reiner and I follow Mia Farrow. Oh my gosh, it's my torture of the day just to read their stuff. But Rob Reiner was talking about, oh, what this is going to mean to um, the states that are in, what do you call that? The states that are in play, Michigan, Wisconsin, those states. And so,
Constitutional amendment states, you mean?
no, oh,
I missed that one by Rob Reiner, and once a meathead, always a meathead.
oh boy, yeah, the tiger can't change its stripes. Um, but so as you know, I just moved to Missouri from Michigan. I spent almost 5 years in Michigan. And one of the things that I don't think people are counting on is that in places like Detroit, where you have a huge population of Black men who have been incarcerated and who know what the judicial system is like and who know that you can get railroaded. And a lot of them like Donald Trump. And so I think there are a lot of Black men who are going to potentially relate to what has happened to Donald Trump.
Well, even if
Yeah.
they're felons and they're released, of course they can't vote, and of course the left is cheering over the fact that now that Trump is a convicted felon, that he cannot vote any longer. But guess who can vote, ladies and gentlemen? These
Illegal immigrants, some of them.
well, these convicted felons' families can vote for Trump.
Yes. Yeah,
And that's
absolutely.
what will happen.
Yeah. Exactly. So, and I think, while, of course, I know you are very, as am I, disappointed in the president's position on abortion. The thing that like really rattled my cage was how he has supported Mike Johnson. And so, as you were talking about, who is surrounding the president, well, we have to wonder who is surrounding Mike Johnson. I mean, I
Correct.
think we pretty well know who's surrounding Mike Johnson. And apparently, it's the same people surrounding President Trump. And that I'm very, very disturbed by that. But okay, and here's my final thought. So I was reading a columnist, a Michigan political strategist that I've followed for a while, and he's just like very, very upset about, and he's like, we cannot allow the Democrats to win. Once again, it may be the case where, and of course I've felt this way my entire life, holding my nose and voting for Republicans. And that's kind of how I feel. I just cannot, I don't think I can. I think I'm going to vote for Donald Trump primarily because there are some good people in the in the Republican Party. I know them. I've worked side by side with them in Michigan. I assume that, of course, there are some good people in the Democrat Party, but I think we have a better chance with the Republicans, weak and awful as they are, than we do with the Democrats, who I think are determined to destroy our country. So, I mean, that's where I'm landing today. A lot could
Yeah.
happen.
On X, Mike Johnson tweeted that the Supreme Court needs to step in on Trump's verdict. Well, come on. I mean, where were the Republicans during this whole charade? Did any of them go to that courtroom and sit there and be a part of that with him?
Some
They're
did.
just like the bishops.
Yeah,
They're all
well,
talk
and
and no action.
well, some of them did, of course, just to just for the camera time, I think. I mean, Mike Johnson showed up one day, right? Um,
Marjorie Taylor Greene showed up once, so that was it. I mean, where was everybody else
I think there
supporting
was some,
him?
I w d really, did Steve Bannon not show up? Oh,
No,
that's right. I guess he's in Washington and this was going on in New
New
York. I
York.
don't
Yeah.
know. I mean, I guess it's a short train ride away, but, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's all too little too late, which is, the story of, the last 40 or 50 years.
Boy, that's the truth. Part of this a travesty in the state of New York is they actually changed the laws so that they could let that bimbo sue him for alleged rape. I can't even remember her name. I don't even want to think of her name.
Mhm,
Um, they were past the statute of limitations when she decided. I'm sure some Democrat drug her out and propped her up in order to go after Trump.
mhm.
And so they changed the laws in New York so that they could act, so she could actually sue Trump. They did the same thing for this trial. So if everyone, if you want to watch some good reporting on this, there's three people I would recommend. Megyn Kelly did excellent reporting on this on her channel. Um,
And she's a
Andrew,
lawyer, right?
yes, she's a lawyer. Andrew McCarthy. Um,
Mhm,
he wrote article after article after article about this, very informative articles. And Ben Shapiro actually did a really good job kind of dissecting what happened. And he had Megyn Kelly on today as well. So I want you to be able, I want you guys, if you want to delve into this a little more and hear other people's thoughts, those are the three people I would recommend that you go look up their videos on YouTube. And I thought their coverage was really good. So, should this have happened to Donald Trump? Not in a million years. Not in a
well,
million years.
Uh,
It was
and
a,
if people don't, I thought a pretty good summary of the case and what happened was the lead editorial in today's Wall Street Journal. So, the lead editorial is what, a 5-minute read, something like that. But you can get a pretty good idea of, what the issues were, I thought, in that lead editorial. Because quite honestly, I have not followed the ins and outs of this case at all. I mean, well, for one thing, I just haven't followed it that closely.
yeah. And I have followed it, but not to be able to give you details like Megyn Kelly gave. And of course, she's an attorney, so she can explain that stuff. So,
Yeah.
that's my opinion on Donald J. Trump. We're in serious trouble, folks. The DOJ, and I knew this 11 years ago, the DOJ was, well, I won't say the DOJ, the justice system was a weapon.
Mhm.
Yes, it was 11 years ago. It probably has been a weapon a long time. We're just now seeing the biggest part of it right now. If they want to get you, they'll get you no matter what. And one of the points Megyn Kelly said is the whole point of a trial, any trial is justice.
Mhm.
It's justice. It isn't to convict, it's to weed out and find the justice of what was going on. And as you all know, Alan Briggs campaigned to get Trump. So what they did is they manufactured crimes. That's what they did. They manufactured crimes to get him. So thanks for your opinion on that, Kristine.
Sure.
All right. We'll now transition
Mhm.
into the Michael Voris pick. And we have this pick courtesy of Kristine. Kristine Christlieb.
Yeah,
So here it is, and I'll let you talk about this, Kristine.
Well,
There
yeah,
you
so
are, folks.
this was taken in the studio, obviously on St. Patrick's Day. And I mean, all of you know, of course, that Michael was a Notre Dame graduate, and some of you may or may not know that, he auditioned and almost was the sideline leprechaun, at the football games. But he was, I think, like an inch too tall or something like that. But uh, very proud of his over the top sort of Irish personality. So yeah, there you have it.
Who is the guy in the background,
I
Kristine?
can't tell.
I don't recognize
Oh,
him.
is that? It might be Tony. Is that Susan Vance's nephew? Is that
Oh, I'm
Tony?
sure. It's gotta be somebody related to Vance.
Yeah, or one of the Dropes. But
Yeah, all of them worked there, I think.
no, not all of them. I think there were 7 brothers and sisters, and of course, 3 of them worked at Church Militant. Good family,
And
very nice
her
family.
niece, Nadia.
Yeah, on the Vance side, not the Drope side, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So Kristine, texted this picture to me, and I'm gonna tell you what I said. I
Yeah.
said, "It doesn't get any more gayer than this."
Uh, yeah,
All
and
right, my bad.
every St. Patrick's Day,
He wore that every St. Patrick's Day?
Yep,
Oh,
yep, we drug
wow.
it out every St. Patrick's Day. Yep.
All right, there's your latest photo of Michael Voris, folks.
Yep.
All right, now we're gonna transition into the de Laire lawsuit. So, there were 5 document dumps on the 28th. There was another document, that was uploaded to Pacer last night. Was it last night? Yeah, last night. So, we're gonna go through 6 documents, folks. So, we will try not to get into the weeds on these documents, but we just want to show you what they are. So, Kristine, I'm going to pull up.
Can we go in order? Is there any chance? What?
Matthew says, "Is it bad that I want to dye and wash Michael Voris's hair?"
A constant, that was a constant comment from everybody. It was like, "What is with the hair?" You
Was
know?
it a hair piece?
Oh, well, there's a matter of debate, almost like, that's gonna go down in history like the Kennedy assassination, like, was it a hairpiece or not? I heard it both ways, that no, that was his hair, but it was like, well, first of all, the color was like nothing found in nature, and then secondly, it was of a texture that just was odd. It was, um it was a kind of horsehair like,
Yeah, very coarse.
yeah, uh-huh, and dry,
Yeah.
extremely dry. So it didn't look very healthy. I don't know.
I know one time, I was trying not to be obvious, but I was clearly studying his hair when he was, the few times he ever talked to me, which I think was twice.
Yeah, yeah. But yes,
Janet
that's
says,
always been a mystery. Yeah.
"For clarity, what was your reason for the Michael Voris photo?" There is
Oh,
no reason. It was just for fun. We had Kristine found this photo, texted it to me today, and I'd never seen the St. Patrick's Day suit, and so we just thought we'd show it to you all. That's all. That's
yeah.
all it was.
And I
So,
wasn't I was working on another story, and so I was going through all my photos and videos, and so I just happened to come across it, and so I shot it off to Kristine. So,
yeah.
yeah. Okay, so in going through these documents, would it be possible for us to go through these in numerical order? Actually, it
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
I've got it set up in numerical order.
Okay,
Yeah.
excellent. Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah.
So the first one is 271, Kristine.
Yeah, these are Voris objecting to motions in limine. And so motions in limine, in this case, I don't know if they're always put for. No, I guess both can do this. Um, they are motions put for pre-trial motions put forward about what can and cannot be introduced at trial. And so that's what all of these are about. What can and cannot be introduced at trial. And so the first one is Father de Laire wants to be able to exclude evidence of clergy sex abuse. So Voris is wanting to put forward evidence of clergy sex abuse. And
Not by Father de Laire,
right. No,
everyone.
just
This
just
isn't an
generally.
allegation against Father de Laire.
No, no, it's just generally speaking, clergy sex abuse. And so the way this is coming up is, and by the way, St. Michael's Media, in their little section of this lawsuit, they objected to this being excluded. Remember, it's Father de Laire is wanting to exclude evidence or facts or information about clergy sex abuse. And Voris is saying, no, we want to be able to put that in. Now, why? Excuse me. The reason that Voris wants to put it in is because in the negotiations about damages, okay, Father de Laire is saying, well, because of this article that was published, I was approached on three different negatively approached by three different individuals. It was negative encounters. And so Michael is saying, well, there's no reason to think that those negative encounters are because of the publication of the article. And as a matter of fact, you might be having negative encounters from outsiders because they are negatively motivated by all the clergy sex abuse. So that's why Voris he's wanting to mitigate Father de Laire's claims of damages. Okay.
And everyone, Kristine and I are not attorneys.
Right. Yeah.
We have never played an attorney. We are just reading these documents so you can have an understanding of where the de Laire trial is, and we are not offering any kind of legal advice to anyone. So just wanted to make that disclaimer.
Yeah. So we're reading them so that, you don't have to, but if you want to, you could.
And
So,
so you don't have to pay for them.
yeah. Yeah. So basically, they want to include this clergy sex abuse as an alternate explanation for why Father de Laire might have been approached negatively in these three incidents. Okay, that's that.
Okay. Do you want to go to the next one?
Yeah. So this is Voris objecting to Father de Laire. Let's see.
And this is document 272, correct?
Yeah. Wanting to introduce. Okay. So in the discovery phase of this proceeding, there were all different kinds of errors that took place. I mean, they've left stuff out. It seemed like they were hiding things. They didn't produce things on time. I mean, it was just thing after thing after thing, really bad.
And this is Voris's former attorney and St. Michael's Media former attorney.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's not Father de Laire's legal counsel, and so Father de Laire is wanting to, let the jury know about this sort of thing. And of course, Voris is objecting. And so, that, what is his objection? Let's see. He's just saying that that the trial, if they want to, okay, the trial can be about the defamation, or it can be about these errors. Which one do you want it to be? So basically, he's saying that that's pretty much his position.
And
Now we come.
he being Michael Voris, that's what Michael Voris is saying.
Yes,
Pick
yes,
what you want. Is it about defamation or is it about errors?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Now we come to 273, which is my personal favorite. This is where let's see. Michael Voris is objecting to Father de Laire wanting to introduce into evidence facts related to Voris's conduct that led to his resignation. Okay. So, and naturally, Voris objects to this. He absolutely does not want this into the record.
And why is that? Because Voris is contending that he had no oversee on the article, nor was he responsible for the article. That was Kristine Niles who was responsible for the article. But when he resigned in a state of disgrace for his bad decisions of the past, as far as his moral conduct, this is probably why Father de Laire wants this in, because it shows bad decisions. Would you agree with that or disagree, Kristine?
No, so yes, Father de Laire, the plaintiff, thinks he should, and I'm reading from the document, argues that he should be entitled to introduce evidence related to Mr. Voris's conduct, including lying about his sexual orientation. So I'm okay, so allow me to just say why this outrages me so much. I do think it's relevant. And Mr. Cooper, if you are listening, the reason I think it's relevant is because and Voris's attorneys are arguing, well, he never lied. He never lied about his sexual orientation. You don't have any proof that he lied. And so he never made any statements where he lied. So it's like, no, he never said to any of the staff or anybody, I'm not a homosexual. No, he said it by omission. That he lied by omission, because that his sexual orientation, first of all, the organization almost collapsed one other time on that very topic. Okay. So, and that was in 2016 when the entire staff and everybody learned that, Michael had a past, and he had to go on record. He, made a vortex about how he'd had a past of both homosexual, and that he both homosexual and or that he'd had sex with both men and women.
Yeah,
Okay?
he was bisexual and homosexual, and E. Michael Jones was coming out that weekend with his pamphlet about the man behind the mask, I think is what it was called.
Yeah.
So that was 2015, 2016, somewhere around there. So Michael Voris got out in front of it and and admitted. Now, I'm trying to remember if this was in the E. Michael Jones story, but Voris had agreed to step down from Church Militant and E. Michael Jones take the lead and be the face of Church Militant because of that scandal. And then at the last minute, Voris said no, he wasn't going to do that. He was not going to resign, and he was going to just, come clean and tell everyone what happened.
Well, I think
And
so. It wasn't that he was being asked to resign. I think it was that he was being asked to step away from the camera.
yes,
He
correct.
he was going to still be in charge of production and producing Church Militant shows. Okay, but he just would not be the face of Church Militant, and he, and so that was a deal put for him, and he just decided, nope, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go for it. And he did. And it worked. Okay. It worked. Everybody was like, oh, you're so brave. You're so brave to come forward. And so, so things, went on with everyone believing that he had repented.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, everyone believed that he'd left that, and of course, I haven't reviewed that vortex in a while, but so I don't know specifically what he said, but he certainly implied to the audience that that lifestyle was behind him, and that he had completely left that behind and started Church Militant. And so we were led to believe. So he implicitly lied. Okay. Now, the reason I mentioned that it almost collapsed in 2016 is because he knew that that everyone believed that he had, turned his life around on that front. And if they thought he hadn't, he would not have gotten the support he did. I wouldn't have moved to Detroit. Money wouldn't have poured in. All kinds of things wouldn't have happened if people knew that he was actually still in the gay lifestyle. So every day that he didn't come clean on that, he was lying to his audience and to his employees. Now, it's not just like, oh, well, he made a mistake and blah, blah, blah. No, by not telling people, and by, and by actually maintaining his former lifestyle, he basically was betting the farm a second time. Okay. He was betting that nobody would find out about what was going on now. He thought before nobody would find out, and they did. He came clean. Okay, supposedly came clean, but only under duress,
Yeah.
only because he was forced to. And then again, he goes right back to that when he knew that if people found out about it, it would be the complete destruction of Church Militant. Like that one priest was saying, who in their right mind thought that Church Militant could go forward without Michael Voris?
Yeah,
So,
Father Imbarado said that in his
yes,
video. Yes.
yes.
Uh-huh.
So, with regard to character and lying, this man put everything on the line. All these lives, all these employees. He lied by omission to his audience every day.
Mm-hmm.
So, so with regard to character, and as I guess we'll talk about it in a minute, people are allowed to write the judge. Okay, these are some of the remarks I am going to make to Judge LaPlante. That yes, I think his character, he's reckless. Like I said, he bet the farm twice. Not just once, twice.
Yeah. I was doing a quick calculation. Pat asked, how old was Michael Voris in 2016? I think he was 53 or 54. I think he's 62 or 63 now.
Mhm.
So, that's how old he would have been. Okay, so the character part is very important in the de Laire trial. Um, let's go to the next one, Kristine.
Yeah, okay.
So we're on 274.
Yeah. Okay, oh, okay, so this is apparently, this gets into the weeds a little bit. Apparently, one of Boris's earlier attorneys mistakenly admitted some sort of allegation. And so they don't want, he wants that excluded. And so, I
That was
mean,
his former attorney. Karen,
one of several. I don't know
yeah,
which
one of
one.
several. I think this is his 5th attorney or something.
Yeah.
Karen says, my father was under the impression that Voris repented. Voris told a story about how he made an oath to turn his life around at his mother's funeral. That's right, Karen. He tells his
That's right.
conversion story on his mother's deathbed.
Mhm. Yeah, you're right. Oh, it's so disingenuous. Well, I don't know. Maybe I mean, I don't maybe at the time, you know, but this is a lesson to all of us, frankly. Um, that if you have someone who is in a habitual sin cycle, okay, and a lot of us are in some kind of habitual sin cycle, but this one happened to be homosexuality. I mean, some people it's addiction, some people it's eating, some people it's just lying on the sofa or whatever. Um, but it once you know it's rare that somebody says I'm done with that, and then they're totally done with that. So like anybody who goes into rehab, they often go into rehab 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, they have relapses. The problem with Voris relapsing, or maybe he did, maybe he never quit the lifestyle, but the problem that Voris has is that he went hard after priests that were
Yeah.
homosexual,
Oh, yeah.
not just the ones that were sexually
Abusing
abusing
children.
minors,
Yes,
but all priests that were homosexuals. He went hard at them and tried to expose them all.
Mhm,
So that is part of this problem of believing Voris, is because now believing Voris because, once, shame on you, twice shame on me.
mhm. And, I remember so well when, Milo Yiannopoulos, sort of came in to Church Militant and, Michael was sort of, bringing him along and mentoring him, helping him, shed that persona and so on. And I remember at the time thinking, Michael, I'm not sure you're really the right person. Are you really the right person to do that? I remember thinking that at the time. That because for one thing, I mean, it seems like, well, how can this be? But I mean, Milo had an overwhelming personality. I mean,
Yes.
just I mean, he could bowl over Voris. So it didn't seem like Voris was really the right person to bring Milo around, that instead it might go the other direction again. That
Yeah, when I was only in the studio a couple of times, when Milo was in there, um, and when he was in the studio, he's bigger than life. I mean,
yeah.
he's a tall man anyhow,
Mhm,
but he's a commanding, figure, and he was very nice to me. I mean, I will say that he was very nice to me.
mhm,
He was seemed to be easy to get along with, even though there are stories told where he had a wine bottle sitting on his desk all the time. Um,
I don't remember that, but
yeah, someone told me that. But this question from Hugh, what is Milo doing now? He has a he has a Florida center for homosexuals that are trying to get out of, what do they call it, conversion therapy center in Florida, and that's what he's doing now. So, you know, that's what Milo's doing. But let's get to number 5. So 275, Kristine.
okay. Oh, this is about evidence related to the St. Benedict Center. And I'm sorry, I'm just not that interested in. I'm just not that interested in that piece of the story. I honestly didn't read that one very carefully, but
Okay.
so I
Okay.
don't have much to say about that. And then the very last document is just a status report about, where things stand. Now, actually, Kristine, I think you've looked at this one more carefully. Why don't you summarize because the big bombshell here is when the trial date is. But so, yeah.
Yeah, let me pull that up closer so I can see it. So just hold on. I was shocked when I read this, everyone. Hold on for 1 second. I'm trying to move things around so I can see it. Hold on. And Pat says, I thought he was working for Kanye. Well, he was when Kanye was running for president, but Kanye's no longer running for president. So this document was filed on May 29th, and this is what shocked me about this. First of all, I will not be doing a deposition so far for the trial. In this, it says the remaining discovery will be done with Kristine Niles. So apparently, and the trial deposition of Nita Carey. So it looks like they may be bringing her back too. So I don't believe they're going to depose me, which is fine. You know, these two, Kristine and Anita, could lend much more information than I could. But this is what blew me away. The trial date is set currently for February 2025. So, I mean, oh my gosh, here we go. This started when, Kristine, in 2019?
January
January of
2019 was
2019.
when that story was published.
Yeah. And so Father de Laire is saying in this document, he is available for a trial the weeks of July 29th, 2024. So in a few months, and August 5th, 2024. He is trying to push this trial date closer. And then Father says that he's not available again until December 9th, 2024 and December 16th, 2024.
And let me
So
just mention, they're saying that the trial will take about 2 weeks, which is why they're giving these 2 weeks right together.
yeah, thanks for that, Kristine.
Yeah.
So not sure if Father de Laire is going to be not available from August to December. Don't know what's going on with that. But those are the 3 dates that the 2 dates that he gave for trial. Then point number 3 is they want to schedule a hearing for the assessment of damages against the faulted defendant, Mark Ballesteri, after the trial of this case, so that the court may consider the evidence Father de Laire presents at trial in assessing damages against Ballesteri. So why did Ballesteri default? Default means that you don't either show up for trial or you don't show up for a deposition. And Ballesteri defaulted on his subpoena to appear, and that's why he's considered in default. So,
And
which
it's an
means
automatic judgment, I think. I mean,
correct,
you're automatically,
guilty.
yeah, or whatever, yeah.
Yep, yep. You're automatically
On
saying
the
that
hook. You're on the hook.
on the hook. Right,
Yeah.
right. So keep in mind, this is not a criminal trial. This is a civil trial. So I probably shouldn't have said guilty. Um, and
Liable, I guess.
liable. Right, right.
Yeah.
That's a better word. And then Father is suggesting a mediation. So the last course,
I don't know. It says that he's willing.
yeah,
So he's willing to participate. So I don't know if I don't know who suggested it.
yeah,
All we
yeah. That's a
know
good point. Yeah,
all we know is that he's willing.
he's willing to participate in a court mediation either with Judge LaPlante or one of his colleagues, so long as it is scheduled during June, so June of 2024. So they can either do a mediation in June or set a trial date for July 29th or December 29th. I suspect that Voris will just be fine with the February 2025 date.
I mean, you can be sure he's read the tea leaves from Judge LaPlante, or however you
Yeah.
pronounce his name. But I mean, I'm sure he does not want to fall into the hands of Judge LaPlante. That would be my advice to Michael. Go to trial. Don't do mediation. Not with anybody who's got a rational mind.
Yeah, exactly. So it appears that Voris doesn't have any interest in settling whatsoever. Would you say that, Kristine?
I would say he wants to take it to the bit. He wants to, invoke as much pain on the plaintiff as possible. That's what I think.
Yeah, I agree. It's like kicking the can down the road again. And we will keep our eye, or I will keep my eyes out for any more documents that come out. There may be more that come out. I'm especially interested in this deposition with Anita Carey and Christine Niles, and I'm hoping that gets uploaded to Pacer. So I'm especially interested in Anita Carey
I just want to mention
testimony.
one thing about inflicting the most pain. Imagine that you're a lawyer, you're Mr. Cooper, and I mean, talk about losing the thread. Can you imagine having to refresh your memory of all these details over and over and over again?
Yes, because it's Father de Laire is not his only client.
Yeah. I mean, that would just be maddening. And of course, this, I assume if you're, a plaintiff's lawyer like Mr. Cooper is, you are willing to handle this, but just to have something just go on and on and on, like we were talking about off camera. Boy, this is, when people, sort of cavalierly talk about suing somebody, or, be sure you understand what you are getting into, that you are talking about something that is going to be part of your life for maybe up to 5 or 6 years.
Yeah. This is, and if they do go with the February trial date, I mean, now we're going into what, 7 years?
Oh my God.
I mean, it's just
I mean, 19
unbelievable.
for 25. I mean, so yeah. I mean, it's just horrible. So it brings to mind sort of, well, I'm sorry, I have to show off my literary side, but it's one of my favorites. So there was So, oh my gosh, I can't remember. Oh, now I've forgotten the title. There's a Dickens novel, and the whole novel is about a lawsuit called John Dice versus John Dice, and it takes up like 3 generations. It's an estate case.
Oh
You
my.
know, so people just don't realize how a lawsuit can ruin your life.
Yeah, oh, it sure can. So, Kristine, I want to now pivot to
Bleak
your
House.
pardon me?
Bleak House. Bleak House. It's
Bleak House.
Bleak House.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah, yeah. Well, I don't
not
know
Bleak
why that
House.
didn't ring a bell to me.
Yeah.
Um, all right. So it's funny. I've been going back and reading all the old classics,
Uh-huh.
and there's so many of them that I've read. High school, college. And I go back and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, why did I not like this? It's just beautifully written, beautiful writing. Um,
The
but talking
PBS
about
production, the PBS production of Bleak House, I think was just really wonderful.
I'll
But
have to look
anyway,
that up.
enough of that, but
Yeah.
sorry.
Well, talking of another brilliant writer, that's Kristine Christlieb. And I would like for you to go through, I'm going to share my screen and show you her latest article, everyone. Um, you have to read this article. You have to subscribe to her Trust But Verify. Um, so, Kristine, give us a Cliff Note version of what your article is all about.
Mhm. Well, the article is about the fact that big Catholic healthcare systems in St. Louis, SSM Health, St. Louis University Medical School, both major Catholic institutions, and their hospitals, their teaching hospitals, Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital, which is the only freestanding Catholic hospital in the nation, and other hospitals in that system are their maternal fetal medicine departments are referring parents for abortion. And it happens in it's motivated by eugenics. So in other words, parents will come to them with pregnancies where the child is very sick. The preborn infant has some severe developmental and or physical disabilities. And in those cases, these Catholic institutions are recommending to parents to abort the children, that these children do not deserve to even be born. They need to be aborted, just don't even give them a chance. So my article is about how the Knights of Columbus, who purport to, protect children, protect the unborn, are very involved in providing support for developmentally disabled children. A pro-life activist in St. Louis has been presenting the Knights of Columbus with evidence, multiple cases, more than 20 cases of this coming up. And the Knights of Columbus are just not interested. They do not care. They do not want to hear about it, which is pretty shocking. So that's what my article is about, how the Knights of Columbus, even though they say they're helping developmentally disabled children, there are some developmentally disabled children that they don't want to help.
Well, in your article, you have since 1970, the Knights have held an annual drive for persons with developmental disabilities. Is that where it stops, Kristine? Just a fun drive?
Well,
Fundraiser drive?
I'm not. Actually, they were instrumental in establishing a center for developmentally disabled children at Cardinal Glennon's Hospital. There's a whole, huge facility that's and it's wonderful. I mean, it's really wonderful. They do great work with a lot of children, but but these children who have very severe disabilities, and who don't, the prognosis is not good. Okay. And in my story, I focus on one particular instance where a woman went into St. Mary's Hospital in St. Louis, Missouri, her for an ultrasound, and three different doctors told her, or didn't tell her. They said that her best option was to terminate the pregnancy. Of course, they never say abortion. They're never going to say that. But to
Mhm.
terminate the pregnancy was her best option, which is exactly what it was, the advice she had gotten from Washington University's hospital, Barnes Jewish. So these people have no, I mean, they're completely secular, okay? But the secular hospital gave exactly the same diagnosis and advice that the Catholic hospital gave.
Did she go to the Catholic hospital thinking that she might get a different,
Yes.
opinion?
Yes, so here's allow me to just say how, the sequence of events. She was pregnant. She had gone to Barnes Jewish, and they said, this does not look good for your baby. You need to just have an abortion. And Barnes Jewish apparently even paid her transportation to go over to the abortion mill over in Illinois.
Really?
And it was at that abortion bill that you can see him on the screen right now. John Ryan. John Ryan is a sidewalk counselor. He is at Hope Clinic there in Granite City, Illinois. I think every single Saturday. Every single Saturday, I think he's there. And so he was there the day that she was scheduled for her abortion. And he managed to persuade her to look into like a second opinion. Why don't you see if I know a doctor who could take care of you and your baby. So she agreed, and so she left, and it got set up for her to go, that she was going to go get another ultrasound and take the ultrasound and then see her new doctor that same day. Well, she got that ultrasound, and these three doctors descended on her and told her, no, that the prognosis was bad. Her best option was termination. They didn't even leave it to her doctor to tell her
Wow.
that. They knew, from the medical record, you can see they knew she had a doctor's appointment with a new doctor that afternoon. It seems to me what they should have done was written up, whatever their advice was, and let her new doctor deliver the message.
You know,
But
I
yeah.
know a doctor in the Cleveland area that was practicing at a Catholic hospital, and they told him he had to take down his statue of the Blessed Mary uh, what do they
Reception
call it?
area?
In the what?
Reception
No,
area?
in his, where he examined in his examination room.
Oh, oh,
Yeah. Yeah, Catholic hospital telling him he had to take down the Blessed Mary statue.
oh my gosh.
Yeah, yeah, so I don't know why these hospitals are allowed to even put Catholic on their,
I don't I don't either.
and their
I don't
signage because they're far from Catholic.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very difficult pregnancy, no question about it. Um, but but they really, apparently one of the doctors, like, were walking them down the hall as they were the couple was trying to leave after the ultrasound, following along behind them, trying to persuade them even then
Wow.
that termination was their best option.
Well, I wonder what kickback they were getting.
Oh, that's a good question.
I mean, why would they be so insistent, you know?
I have no idea.
You know,
You know,
Christine.
they just, again, it's eugenics. It's
Yes.
this human being is so damaged that we really need to euthanize it. It needs to be euthanized. That it shouldn't, it shouldn't be allowed to. it wouldn't be right to let it live. Of course they're making that argument.
Sure. And in Rachel's Vineyard, we have heard quite a few stories where women have come to the retreat because they were, pressured into aborting their baby because the doctor says, well, the baby won't be able to survive outside the womb for, any period of time, or it's so damaged that, it may cause complications during delivery. And they scare these women to death.
Mhm.
And then, as so many have said that's come through Rachel's Vineyard, I wish I had never made that decision. I wish, because you don't know. You
Mhm.
don't know. You don't know if there is a chance that once they're born, that maybe um, they can be saved. Yeah, I mean, you just don't know.
Well, and
So
there's the whole problem of, this is a whole separate topic, but the whole problem of genetic testing and its accuracy. I know. So I had my first baby at 44. I did not have any genetic testing. I didn't want to know, if there was something wrong, well, we'd find out soon enough. But the main thing what happens, at least on some occasions, is unless you can be sure that genetic testing is, well, even then you wouldn't, you certainly wouldn't want to take abortion as an option. But the genetic testing isn't necessarily 100% accurate.
yes, that's true. And, that just jogged my memory, Kristine, you saying that. So I had my son at 37 and at St. Vincent's Hospital here in Indianapolis. And my doctor kept pushing me to get tested too,
Yeah.
especially tested for Down syndrome.
Yeah.
If my son had been born, if my son had tested positive for Down syndrome, I was going to go ahead. I would have had him anyway
Hmm.
because I could not go through another abortion.
Yeah.
I just couldn't do that to myself again. I was already under tremendous amount of guilt about the abortions that I had had. But you know what? That was a Catholic hospital that was trying to get me to do that testing. You're right. This has been going on a while, hasn't it?
John Ryan said it's that the genetic testing is in these maternal fetal departments, which used to be called um, parent. Oh, they had a different name. Okay, there were para, perinatology or something like that. Anyway, now it's maternal fetal medicine. It's not fetal. It's I just don't like that. I don't like that name,
I don't
maternal
either.
fetal.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's those tests are are if John Ryan was calling them, they're just search and destroy. It's
I got to get him on, Kristine.
yeah,
I'm going to put you on the spot here.
yeah, yeah. I
That's-
mean, John has been. I mean, talk about labor in the abortion wars. Oh my, he has been through it. Oh my goodness.
well, would you
Yeah,
all, Deb says, uh, neonatal centers. Anne says perinatal.
yeah. I think that's what. Yeah,
Perinatal? Okay,
yeah,
perinatal,
mhm,
yeah.
yeah.
My
Which
son was in the prenatal center, because well, as you guys know from my story, we both died, and he was in neonatal for, 6 or 8 weeks, but
God, that's a long time.
yeah, but I would love to would you be interested in hearing, from Mr. Ryan about this?
Yeah, I
Tell
think
me in
it.
the comments if you would, because I'll try to get him on to talk more about this.
Yeah, I mean, John has he was and he this story is about how the Knights of Columbus have turned their back on this issue. He was Knight of the Year, I believe, for the entire state of Missouri one year. He is a fourth degree knight himself. this guy is like, um, he said, he was saying every time he goes on that sidewalk, he said to a lot of people, it's just another day. It's just another day. He said he has to work at keeping in mind, that there are lives depending on him.
Oh, wow. How blessed those babies are to have him there.
Mhm.
Um, Everybody is saying yes, 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 yes. So I'll work on getting him
Yeah.
on the show. And it's sidewalk counseling is not something I can do. I can do Rachel's Vineyard, but the sidewalk counseling is way too close for me. And there's some people that can do it. Others can't do Rachel's Vineyard, but they can do sidewalk counseling. So, we all have our strengths in the pro-life movement that we can work towards. And what a blessing he is.
Mhm.
Um, Okay, Kristine, anything else we should know? Did she end up having an abortion?
No, she didn't. She had the baby. The baby did die fairly soon after birth, and she had the baby at St. Mary's. And the obstetrics, the birthing center, the nurses there were wonderful to her. I mean, she had a wonderful. They were extremely sensitive to the situation, to the fact, that her baby didn't live very long. They were very kind to her and wonderful to her. It's My worry is that it's this maternal fetal medicine. And I'm sorry, I don't want to prolong this too much, but if you look at the curriculum for maternal fetal medicine at St. Louis University Medical School, a Catholic medical school, you don't see anything about any training for them about how to help moms who are about to deliver a child that may not live very long, or a child that's going to be very sick.
Mhm.
And that should be really, you'd think in a Catholic hospital where you're not going to um, be promoting abortion at all, that would be a key thing for doctors to know how to help parents through that situation.
Yeah, and not only that, Kristine, but as some have said in Rachel's Vineyard that have been in similar situations, they never got to hold their baby. They
Yeah.
never got to see what their baby looked like. And these women that have decided to go ahead and have the baby, knowing that the chances are that their baby will not survive, they could still hold and see their baby and have some closure around that.
Mhm.
Where when you have an abortion, there's no closure,
And
none at all.
what happens to the remains?
Yes.
What do they do with the remains?
Well, I've got horror stories for that, you know, where they should be. What should happen is that they should be carefully contained and given to the parents to then take the baby and have a proper burial for the baby. That's what should happen. But a
Mhm.
lot of times that is not what
Mm-mm.
happens. At the Catholic cemetery I worked at for a short while, there was an area that was just for that type of burial. But then there was an area where it it had a hole, and this is going to sound gross, ladies and gentlemen, and I am sorry to say this, but I don't know how else to say it. It's where they dump the remains in like a pool of a burial pool, kind of
Like a
like,
mass grave?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so people that have had miscarriages could do that. People that had the baby wasn't very far along, and the baby died and they had to do surgery to remove the baby. Those types of situations would be in that mass grave. But I often wondered if they really knew that's what was going on when they did that. I don't know. Thank God I never ever had to handle that when I worked there, but it kind of disturbed me for a long time. Okay. So I'm glad she was able to see her baby. Oh my gosh.
She was.
Okay. So everyone, go to Kristine Christlieb's Trust But Verify. This is her Substack. So all you have to do is trust but
Google. If you just Google Trust But Verify, I'm pretty sure it comes up.
yeah, you have to put in Trust But Verify Substack and it will pop right up. Okay? Because there is another Trust But Verify that Reagan said, and that always comes up first when I'm trying to Google Kristine's stuff because, I should bookmark it, but I haven't done that yet, Kristine. Just, you know how it is. And,
Yep.
but this was an important story that she wrote. So, all right. So let's get to some questions, Kristine, and some comments. Okay.
You bet.
All right. So Michael E. Archer says, when I was in the medical examiner's office, there was a large cardboard box labeled POC, products of conception. That's what they called it.
Oh
I
gosh.
would cross it out and write JMJ, which is Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, and put a cross on the box. Oh my gosh, Michael. So what did you do that you would be at the medical examiner's office? That's really, thank you. Thank you for doing that, Michael. Thank you. So let's see. Let me go back. Jack Gordon says, since 1945, the U.S. has been on a downward spiral, and now we've hit bottom. We have supplanted the defunct USSR folks. Yeah, you're right, Jack. I totally agree with you. Any comment there, Kristine?
Well, yeah, I mean, it does, we're too proudful and we don't understand how many enemies we have.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying they're unjustified.
Okay.
We've made a lot of enemies.
We have. Karen says, did the CM article suggest that de Laire had involvement in abuse? Yeah.
No, there's no suggestion at all. No.
Jack Gordon then says again, thank you for coming back, Jack. I know you've been on my other broadcast, so I appreciate your following. The lie was on the part of Church Militant, a donor. I was under the strong impression Voris had repented and reformed totally. It was fraud. Yep, that's right. Okay, Katie, I think you're referring to Trump. His moral values have changed. Mine have not. Cannot in good conscience vote for him. Will vote on local issues only.
I understand that.
Yeah, that is, you're right as a citizen of the United States. Okay, let's see. New comment. Oh, okay. Ruby says, put your link in the comment section. Good idea. Hold on
Thanks,
while I
Ruby.
do that. I really appreciate that because there is a lot I got to do while we're on the podcast. All right, there it is, everyone. There's her link to the article. Thank you, Ruby, for pointing that out. I appreciate it. All the help I can get, I'll take it.
And in my article, if you go to the article, for one thing, you'll get links to John Ryan's report of all these incidents, that he's recorded of people being referred for abortion. And you'll also get a link to a 30-minute documentary pretty much on this whole topic as well, that was produced by Chuck Neff. He's sort of a local journalist that a lot of people been around St. Louis a long time, did a really lovely 30-minute documentary that, you meet this woman that I've been talking about. She talks about what happened to her.
Oh, good, good. Okay. Anne says a pregnancy ended with fetal demise at 21 weeks. I'm sorry to hear that, Anne. I delivered the stillborn baby, named him James, had him cremated, and will be buried with me or my husband, whoever dies first. How nice. Now, I will tell you, when I worked at the cemetery, I had oftentimes, oh, I have an interesting story to share. Oh my gosh, I should do an episode on cemetery stories.
Oh
Um,
dear.
but oftentimes, it was written in the will that when the son died, especially if it was like a son that was disabled and was in a home. So if the parents had died and now the son had died, we'd have to exhume the casket and then put the remains that were cremated, the vase, in the
In the
in the
in the
casket.
I
Of
didn't know people did that.
Oh yeah. Okay, I'll tell you some cemetery stories. So Anne, I'm glad you said that, because that what a beautiful thing to be able to do that. That is so nice. Um, one lady was, and it's very expensive to exhume
I can
these
imagine.
caskets. If they're in a mausoleum, it's not so bad, but if they're in the ground and they've been there a while, and in Indiana, you have to put the casket in a vault because of the water levels in Indiana. So she had exhumed her husband like 5 different times. She'd exhume him and she would send him down to Florida where she was at. Then she decided that she would want to come back to Indianapolis. So she'd move back, have him exhumed again, and had him reburied in Indianapolis at the same at the Catholic cemetery. And she did this 5 different times. And the fifth time, she ended up having to buy a vault because there was just too much activity. And those things it's not cheap to ship remains in a casket.
I can imagine. I can
Yeah,
only imagine.
but it's do you think this is the last time you're gonna bury your husband? And they just take him with them. So yeah, there's all kinds of cemetery stories I could tell. Um, what was this, Hugh? Just heard transmission. Some lady had an epileptic seizure and doctor ruled her dead. You mean what happened? I guess that's what I want to know. What happened?
Maybe he's just saying they were like really quick to
Pronounce her
drop
dead?
her dead, and all
Yeah.
she had was a seizure.
Her sister came by because she missed the funeral and demanded they open the casket. And when they did, oh, there's more to the story. Okay. Waiting on that one. Okay. Catholic Cristeros says Trump is 1,000 times better than Biden.
Yeah.
Everybody would agree with that, but I still haven't made up my mind, everyone, because of the abortion issue. And again, who's advising him to have switched his abortion position? Okay, so Hugh says she was buried alive, and when her sister came and opened, she sat up and talked to her sister. Oh my Lord. That had to have been a shock. Whew. All right. Any questions? We're almost at an hour and a half. I really do appreciate you all. Third time this week. And I will try to get, with Kristine's help, John Ryan on. And, Kristine, maybe we could all three be on, and you can talk through this with him. So, oh, this is sweet. Michael said the nurses would dress the baby and take a picture for the parents. That's very nice. Very, very nice.
I mean, that's essentially kind of what happened to Abriana at St. Mary's when she actually was allowed to deliver her baby. Then the Catholic stuff kicked in. But it was these maternal fetal medicine doctors, and they're all well. Anyway, I could go. Yeah.
Yeah, what has the world turned into? Oh my gosh. But you know what? I really believe it's been going on a very long time. We're just now really understanding how well the veil has been torn open, and we're seeing the evil. That's what it is. On all counts. On it just seems like in everything.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, any parting remarks, Kristine?
No, it may seem like, in light of everything that's going on globally, some of these stories may seem, just small, but they're just examples of the low level of corruption that just permeates our culture. It's just everywhere, and I think that's why, and it's oppressive. I know it feels oppressive.
Yes, it does. And I'm not minimizing or diminishing the de Laire lawsuit at all when I make this next statement. But when you see what President Trump has been going through, the de Laire lawsuit seems relatively small in comparison, and I don't mean that to diminish it, or because this is very important to Father de Laire, because it's about his reputation.
And it's important to some of us. I mean, it's important to me.
Yeah, it's important to me too, because lots of reasons. But in spite of the fact that I don't agree with President Trump's abortion issue, I question more the people he's surrounding himself with, why the bishops are not being vocal about abortion. They're just, it can't be just in January. It has to be all the time talking about it. And I don't mean every week, every day, but come on. Can you do once a quarter, bishops? Is that too much? But President Trump is being unfairly targeted all because he's running for president. All because he's running for president. And, there are lots of things I don't agree with him in his personal life. But no one deserves what he has had to go through. They're trying to bankrupt his business. They're trying to bankrupt him. And they're trying to make sure now they can call him a convicted felon. So that will be all we'll hear until election day. And
Mhm.
then I also read that in 24 hours of this verdict, he raised $54 million for his campaign. So, you know, if they can do what they can do with the January 6th people, if they can do what they are doing to Donald Trump on all of these flimsy lawsuits that they're changing law in order to prosecute him, they can do it to us too. And they have, and folks, they have been doing it to us for a long time. One day I'll tell that story. So, Kristine, thank you so much for being on.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure, Kristine. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And remember, everyone, eternal life is forever. Got a plan? Make sure you have a plan so you don't get derailed. So we need to pray for this country. We absolutely need to pray for this guy. And we need to pray for our Catholic institutions too.
Mhm.
They're in big trouble. You know, you can't tell them from, there's no difference other than a name, Catholic, from a secular hospital to a Catholic hospital. They're
Mhm.
operating the same, and it shouldn't be that way. So, Yorkie says, I missed the show. Yorkie, the replay will be available under Eternal Life Plan, under the Live tab on the YouTube channel, so you can watch it. The replay. So that's always available. All the replays are available under the live tab. But I want to thank you all for watching, hanging in with us for an hour and a half, and we'll bring you more content. And, you know, email me. Email me if there is something specific that you would like to see. I'd be happy to take your ideas. You know, because let's face it, the Voris news isn't going to go on forever. So, whatever it is that you want for me to bring to this channel, I am more than happy to entertain that and try to make that for you. So, just email me at eternallifeplan@gmail.com. And here is Kristine's Substack. Here's her Substack, trustbutverifyreport.substack.com. So there you have it, folks. Thank you so much. God bless you all. We've got 2 more comments. Let's see. Oh, thank you, ladies. Thanks. Yep. Thank you. Bye-bye.